Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity. What's going on in your life? Something real, that much, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Bring it all in here. This is a good place to bring in everything, everyone that's going on in our personal lives, in our community, in our country. Bring it all into the presence of infinite love and wisdom. Bring it here into Chesterland Unity. Let's affirm this statement about our community. We are Chesterland Unity, coming alive and making a difference through our fierce love of God, ourselves, and all others. Yes, and we have an affirmation about unity in particular, a basic statement about oneness. That's the foundation of what all of Unity's teachings and practices are about. Let's declare this together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, absolute goodness. So we honor this community. We acknowledge our uniqueness and the place that it has in our lives. And we acknowledge that there are other traditions. There are other denominations within the Christian tribe. There are other spiritual traditions around the world. We honor and respect them. We know that there's only one presence and one power, but there are many understandings of that, more than can be held in any one system. And so we acknowledge that. We join with all of the others. Others are celebrating a holiday this week. It's called a cross-quarter day in the Wiccan, this Celtic nature-based calendar. So they call it Imbolc. So it's the 4 days that are between the solstices and the equinoxes. Okay? So every 7 or 8 weeks, there's an occasion for a celebration. So this has been going on for thousands of years. It seems like humans like to have a party. And so they create a festival. And the festival is bigger than the theology, is bigger than the occasion. So I heard that Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow this morning and retreated back underground for 6 more weeks of winter. So I've got a whole talk about seeing the shadow. I'm going to be mentioning the shadow work today. So that's an interesting tradition. I don't know how many groundhogs around the country are doing weather prognostication, but there are a lot. All through Europe as well. And the Catholic Church, not wanting to waste an opportunity to get in on a festival, has a thing called Candlemas, which is a celebration of the light. So this is kind of like the first hint of spring. So we affirm our oneness with the universal truth that shows up in different places. This is also the beginning of Black History Month. But I just saw on the news that the State Department and the Pentagon will not be honoring that. We bring that into the presence of infinite love and wisdom as well. Everything that's going on can be held in the everlasting arms of the divine. And we have our own process that we're doing. We're using a little book. I didn't bring it. There are a couple on the counter back there. The Shaman's Path to Freedom by Don Jose Luis Ruiz. An indigenous spiritual understanding of living well. So there's 10 different freedoms that he talks about. So, and it has a lot in common with unity. There's a belief within unity, within nature religion, indigenous spirituality, and within many spiritual traditions around the world that it's all good, that goodness is everywhere present. It's in every person. The presence of infinite love and wisdom, of goodness, is in rocks and trees and animals. All of creation is sacred. We share that. And we share the idea that there's something, that presence of the divine within us is unique, is active within us, that we can call upon it. Sometimes it calls upon us, and we acknowledge it. Now we call that, in unity, we call that the Christ within, or we call it the I am. Sometimes we call it the higher self, or the true self. That's the presence of infinite love and wisdom that's individualized within us. The assumption on the shaman's path, since we're all good, since goodness is everywhere, the problems are caused by obstacles. The difficulties in our life are caused by things that obstruct our connection with that goodness within us. And so the focus of that book is on clearing it away, establishing a sense of freedom from obstructions, clearing the path for the goodness within us to be central in our consciousness. So it's about cleansing and removing things to live out the Christ, to, as we say, to live at the level that Jesus demonstrated was possible for humanity. So it's about freedom. Today, it's about freedom to change. Freedom to follow a dream is the focus of the book. Don Jose Ruiz is a he's not an elder. I'm not sure how old he is, but maybe in his 30s, maybe he's 40. It's kind of a young man's approach to spirituality, because it's about becoming, about growing, about being free to follow the dream, to do what you want to do. And so it's a good reminder maybe of where we were, and a good reminder of we're still here. We're not done yet, that there's more to do. There's more growth. So, embracing change, being free to change. It's about responding to an inner truth, choosing to grow, choosing to make a change in our lives, and ideally grow, mature, make a difference. Have you chosen changes in your life? I mean, that's what young people do, you know. They choose to wear their hair the way they want it, and dress the way they want, and maybe do what they want to do in spite of what the parents do. So that kind of rebelliousness of young people is an affirmation of being able to say, this is me. This is what I want. This is where I'm going to go. And that, not everyone does that, but that's part of our original equipment, because the presence of God within us is unique to each one of us. It's individualized. And so embracing change, choosing change to let our unique path unfold before us. Sometimes changes show up that we don't choose because it's life on earth. It's for some reason there is mortality, there's impermanence. Things change. No matter how much we want to keep it under control, there's movement all around us. Maybe because creation is still going on, but we have to deal with the impermanence and incompletion around us and injustice in the world. So we face trauma sometimes. We face loss. We face confusion of changes that we may not have chosen. What do we do then? We go to the changeless. When things are swirling around us, we can go to what does not change, what is constant, what we can rely on, and that's the presence of God. That's the Christ, or the I am, or what Ruiz calls the Nagual. Okay, we go to that and invite that to bring us a sense of peace and a sense of orientation and the strength to move forward. Everybody is born to be a shaman in the assumption of the book. Everyone is born to be a disciple of the Christ, to be a manifestation of the Christ. That comes out in different ways, in unique ways, following our uniqueness. So we go to the changeless, where we can get centered. It's a place that we can be comfortable enough to face the difficulties in life. Now, I don't know what you call it, but in this classic unity affirmation, it's the mind of Christ. Let's declare this affirmation together. I am centered and poised in the mind of Christ. Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. Oh yeah, there's a lot that tries to disturb the calm peace of our souls. Okay, but there is a place of peace. There is a place of reliable peace at the center. And so we know that. And we can find that in inner practices. We can find that in spiritual communities. We can find that in our relationships. The presence of God is within us. It's between us in our relationships. It's everywhere present. We're in the midst of it here. So we can find it by expanding our awareness out in nature, by turning our awareness in meditation, in making connections with others. The mind of Christ is present within, between, and beyond. So whenever we're feeling disturbed, let's remember that the mind of Christ is available. Sometimes we're feeling stuck. Sometimes we are stuck. We may not feel stuck, but we look stuck. So there's one of the healing stories in the New Testament is about Jesus going to the pool of Bethesda, the sheep gate, and supposedly was a place where people went to be healed. And the story was, must have been a hot spring that occasionally would bubble. And the story was the first person in would get healed. Well, Jesus went there and he saw a guy that had been there for a long time. He was all settled in there. He had his place. He had his stuff there. He knew everybody's story. Everybody knew him. He was at a place for healing. And Jesus looked at him and said, "What's this guy thinking? He's going to be here forever. Do you want to be healed?" "Well, I'm kind of old and I can't get in there fast enough." And he said, "You want to be healed?" The scripture doesn't say that he answered that. Jesus answered for him. He said, "Get up. Pick up your stuff. Get off of it and move." So this is a story about us. Sometimes we're at a place that's comfortable. We're comfortable because we're familiar with the pain. We're familiar with what's not working. And we're concerned that something different might be more painful, more confusing. And so we're willing to stay in a limitation. But there's a voice that says, "Get up, pick up your bed and walk. Get off your tail and do something." That's the presence of God within. That's represented by Jesus in the story. Sometimes that message comes through more loud enough to interrupt us. Usually it's too polite to interrupt us, and we have to ask for something before we're able to hear it. Sometimes, for some reason, it interrupts us the way Jesus interrupted that guy at the pool. He didn't want to hear the story. He just said, "Get off it. Give it up. Get up and walk." So, sometimes we want to stay with the flock. So, it's nice to be with the flock. It's nice to be with family and friends. It's nice to have company. Okay? And a lot of times we give up stuff, we give ourselves up, or something that's important to us, we give it up because it would upset our family or friends. I've done that a couple times in my life. Okay? Especially when I left Pittsburgh and a business and property and set off on a spiritual quest. People thought I was nuts. I was a little nuts. But I knew there was something that I needed to do. It was hard to explain. One of my buddies came down to the yoga retreat on the Bahamas where I was, to rescue me from this cult that must have captured me. And then he found out that I was managing the place. So then he got interested in yoga. So, see this guy on the right side?
Yeah.
He's outside the fence. Sometimes we can see possibilities. Sometimes there's nothing holding us back except what's beside us, the connections. And so that's okay, but what I'm encouraging you to do is to notice it, to be conscious of it, to make it an awareness that you have, that you are consciously choosing this path over that path. It's important. Our relationships are important. They're essential in many ways for many stages of life. So we may choose to stay. And as we stay, we act the way we're expected to act. We put on a mask so that we look and sound and act the way we are expected to. The way we have to meet the requirements of the situation. It's like Shakespeare saying, all the world's a stage. Everybody is pretending. Everybody is living a role. Some people go so far as to say everybody's living a lie. Everyone is in some way or another inauthentic, because how many people are genuinely living from the true self within them? And we have done it ourselves. We've had moments and experiences where the Christ within us has been directing us and guiding us, and we felt it, and other people can see it here and there in some situations or in others. So, what are we putting the mask over? What are we covering up with the mask? The true self, the higher self, the Christ. In Unity's metaphysics, they call that a personality, covers up individuality. So we have a uniqueness, an individuality that's covered over with personality. Psychologists have a model of the true self being at the center and the personalities on the outside, what we present to the world, our ego. So it's ego versus spiritual self, or personality versus individuality. Higher self, lower self, true self, false self. Know what you are choosing. It's all right to do that, but hopefully you can be conscious about it. There's an exercise in the book that says, write down all of your roles, all of the different ways you act and things that you have to do and the way you're expected to be in your life. You know, maybe you're a parent, a partner, a spouse, a sister, a brother, a grandparent, maybe a particular volunteer here, or you work here. All the different roles we have, that where we have to be appropriate. And make it an I am statement. I am a father. I am a husband. I am a minister. I am. And see how that feels. Being clear about roles that you've had. Now there's flip that on its head, called the via negativa. Well, in the yoga tradition, it's called neti neti, not this, not this. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this role of being a father. I am that I am. I'm not this, I'm not this. I am the eternal self. So that's the suggestion for that exercise is in your bulletin there. It says, what am I doing? And it's a reminder that there is something that is authentic, that is true and changeless within us. So, wearing a mask is about presenting that to others. But we also wear a mask to fool ourselves. We put on a mask to avoid seeing some things about ourselves, the things that we don't want others to see. Many times we cover up our perceptions so that we pretend that it's not there. That's called the shadow. The inner things that we're not proud of, inner things that we may not understand, actions, memories, beliefs, attitudes that don't fit, that are immature maybe, or inappropriate, and so we hide them from others. We hide them from ourselves, and so shadow work is what's done in therapy. Shadow work is what's done in spiritual growth practices now. Psychologist Carl Jung said, there's no way to grow spiritually unless you're honest about everything that's within you, unless you can be aware of and own the shadow. When I went to ministerial school, I didn't have any of that. Just affirm the truth. Everything's positive. Just claim that everything's well. Well, cover things over with an asphalt of affirmations. And so the focus of thinking is very powerful. It makes a lot of things happen. It creates healing and prosperity and a sense of direction. But it's incomplete without engaging the entire person. So we hide things from sight, we hide things from insight, and so we create a false self versus a true self. As the false self, there's everything to fear. As the true self, there's nothing to fear. You see, self is capitalized there. True self is capitalized because that's a term for the spirit within, the Christ within. If we don't acknowledge that false self, if we aren't aware of that shadow stuff, we find it's coming out sometimes in inappropriate ways. we have reactive change in our lives. We end up doing something and it's like, whoa, how did I get here? Why did I do that? We want to be conscious. We want to be in charge of our lives. And so, Angela, in a couple of her talks, has referred to an inner committee that
Yes.
creates a lot of negative self-talk and static. And so I've said, who's on that committee? Okay, I mean, look at them.
Yeah.
Okay, name them. There's a whole therapeutic modality now called internal family systems, where you look at the different voices and things that are all in there because, you know, they're in there. And sometimes they get together and form a committee. And so look at them, name them. Okay? And then sometimes it's time to change. It might be somebody, a voice from within saying, hey, get off that. Get up and move. But it might be a decision that we've made that's like, it's time. You may not be able to explain it. Like I had a hard time explaining to family and friends why I had to leave everything that they said was so important. I knew I had to do it. I took some time in doing it. And so if you're going to make a conscious change like that, think about it. Think it through. Don't just jump into it. Take some time. Be aware. Be conscious so that you can make a clean choice about a life decision. Jesus said, you're making a decision, just be clear. Say yes, say no. If there's something in between about, well, I don't know, then get off of it. Don't stay in that. Don't allow that in between maybe state to be the place from which you make a decision. That's where you do the inner work to see how you want to get to yes, get to no, get to now. It's time to move. Go to the changeless. Go to the Christ. Go to the I am. That's a central point of this. Be centered and poised in the mind of Christ. Find a moment, find a little taste of not being able to be disturbed, a little experience of peace. There's an image of being centered and poised. It's called the Hajj. It's a pilgrimage in Islam where everyone once in their life should go to Mecca to be part of this mass of humanity circling this holy stone in the center. Now, I think this is a good image to hold for meditation. There is something that's secure and steady and changeless, like a big rock in the center of a whole bunch of stuff going on. T.S. Eliot called it a still point in the turning world. Centering prayer technique. says that you find a center place and just let things move around you. Notice them. Instead of getting caught up in the movement, be in the still point, the secure place in the center. Don't allow any of that thinking in. The only thing we need to let into the consciousness is maybe the breath. Notice the sensation of your breath. And right here, right now. It's good to do that with an exhalation, right here, right now. So we're going to move into a time of meditation. We're going to sing a song about our identity, the light and the love and the glory that we are. Start me off with that, Sandy. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. And the other part. In the light, as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God. Once more. In the light, in the settle into a secure place, a solid spiritual rock at the center of your being. And just notice the sensation of your breathing. The sensation of your breath is there with the solidity of your seat. You are on a solid, changeless place where you're secure, where nothing can disturb the calm peace of your soul. There are many things out on the fringe. If a thought comes up, if a memory comes up, if a feeling comes up, let it move out to the fringe and circle you. Move around the stillness where you are seated. Settle into that stillness. Practice being in the center, right where you are, in the middle, in the still point of everything going on in your life. From this place of security at the center, let yourself become aware of one particular issue that's moving around you, that has come up for your attention. And notice it. Observe it from that spiritual center of oneness and wholeness. Whatever it is, love is the answer. In one form or another, the power of love is all that's needed. The power of love, the presence of love says, wake up, get up. There's something for you to say, something for you to do. So deepen your breathing a bit, bring awareness back to your body-mind system, and affirm that you're awakened to love. Of love love works all things together for good, takes whatever's going on and blesses it. The flow of divine love blesses and multiplies the goodness in everything. We declare this every week as our blessing of our tithes and love offerings that we would give in support of this spiritual community, that the blessing that we would give for our plans for the week, our relationships, our projects, our work, our play. We invoke the presence of divine love to bless and multiply the goodness in all of this. Let's declare this love offering blessing, this love affirmation together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful and chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now.
You have blessed your gifts. You have blessed your time.
Allow love to do its work with you with gratitude. So it is. Announcements. We now have videos of the Sunday service on YouTube. Some people aren't on Facebook. But you go to Unity of Chesterland on YouTube or Unity of Chesterland on Facebook, and videos of the service will be there. Actually, we started after the singing and hugging at the beginning of the service. Okay? Because, well, anyway. For the same reason some people don't come to the service until after that's over. Okay, we will be having a memorial service for Carol Sestarsik in a month or two. We're working out the details. Sue has contribution letters. So if you have
Trying to get them to everyone.
okay, so see her if you've made a measurable contribution with a check or online giving and for tax purposes. Any other announcements? Rick?
As we get up and get moving, there will be a demonstration Saturday in front of the Geauga County Safety Center to raise awareness and to demonstrate against the conduct of ICE in our community.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's, we're going to close with the prayer for protection and the peace song. And we're going to do that in a circle. We're going to do that connected with each other, connected with people everywhere. Who would you like to include in this prayer? We include people in pain everywhere. People making choices and decisions. We particularly pray for leaders. We know that these words are true, and we declare them for all of us together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.